One thing that happened, I mean, it sort of happened quite quietly. I suppose every QUO fan would have been absolutely aware of it. Was Andy Bown being brought into the band?
We had this yesterday. He played on Power Driver, Hello, and all the early albums.
Hello was the first album he played on, I think, wasn't it?
No, he did on Power Driver, did one, and the other fella did. Anyway, and he started touring with us, I think, in '74. He used to do Just England, and then, because to us it was a logical thing to do. We were putting things on albums, certain parts, that it meant we couldn't do and keep the band. We were always very keen on trying to make the record sound like live. So it meant that Andrew could do keyboards, and it was lucky that we did at the time, because the advent of the synthesizers. I mean, a keyboard player really can put everybody out of work these days, because he's got so many noises that you can get from a keyboard. So it was good that we went at that time. We never tried to make too much of a big thing of Andrew actually joining the band, and getting a bit, to us that was all a bit silly. But it would seem silly now to have, as this guy said yesterday, it seemed that Andrew was in certain photographs and was out of other ones. So it would seem silly now for us to have a new drummer and him being photographed permanently in every photograph, and a guy who's been there 6-7 years not. So rather than us make a big thing that's, hey, you know, it's all a bit too much for us. Andrew's part of the band, and there you go.
Because he came in on the writing as well, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I write...
You've had a chance.
On a permanent basis with Andrew now. You know, it's nice to strike up a writing part. Go on. Late night, you know. A writing partnership with somebody, you know, and it's good. Just picking up on what we were saying a second ago, if you remember, when Andrew first joined us live, he used to come on just for one number here and there. Then he used to go down the dressing room and he'd sit down there for half an hour, right? And have a drink, and then he'd come on and do another bit, what he'd done on the album. You know, and gradually he came more and more into the band album-wise, and that's how it gradually built, you know. And now Andrew is, in fact, part of the band.
It seemed as well that it was... there always been the criticism of status quo being the same and don't change and don't try and so on. So to us, to add that fifth part again, especially keyboard, meant that we could have more, or try experimenting more.
We don't, do we?
Well, no. And supposedly keep it, you know, this is just difficult. If you listen to critics or people in general, you get one say, yeah, it's a great idea, and another lot slag you for it. So if you're not too careful, if you listen to everything around you, it can lead you off your track. Then again, if you go totally blind and don't listen to any criticisms or suggestions, again, that's wrong. So.
Yeah, critic-wise, I mean, we've had a
lot
of laughs over the critic. I mean, we've always been a real favourite for them, you know, because, you know, you go to, I always remember one at Wembley. It was a great gig. Wasn't it? A really good gig. And this guy, I mean, he stood there.
Chris Salovich, his name was.
Yeah, we're going to find out where he ate and throw a brick into his soup or something, you know. That he annoyed us that much, you know, because he's saying, like, you know, you see the dandruff falling out of their hair and everything. It's not really a very nice thing to say.
He never once mentioned the audience or the fact that the audience might have enjoyed it, or that the 10,000 people in there were doing this. All it was personal digs against
him. He's a wanker, that bloke.
The other thing is, the most amusing thing that happened to me recently, we were doing Hammersmith, and there was somebody from a certain paper, without speculating too much on it, who it was or whatever, and I went out to a club afterwards, right, and this guy is sitting in the club, right, and he said, how'd it go tonight? He said, I'm from so-and-so. I said, oh, how? He said, how'd it go? I said, oh, great concert. He said, well, good, because I need something to write, because I was supposed to be there tonight. And he's sitting there with a bird, right? And he didn't even go, and he's written up something the next day. I never did read it, right? And he's written up something. He just asked me how it went, so he's made something up. They were great. It went well. Audience all enjoyed it. Everybody had a good time. Thank you very much, right? And he hadn't even gone. He's been sitting in this club all night.
So when critics get to review our gigs, they know they can have a night off.
They're going to like us even more for this, aren't they?